You're watching the Cowboys Report. I am Tom Downey. It's a bit of an overreaction therapy, safe space to vent session here, as plenty of takes out there on social media as the Cowboys do the thing they've done for the last almost 30 years. Heartbreak in January in the playoffs. So some of the overreactions, takes, theories, etc. we'll talk about today. Trading Dak Prescott, cutting Ezekiel Elliott, firing Mike McCarthy, tagging Tony Pollard, being aggressive in the offseason, Kellen Moore, and more. We begin, though, with Dak Prescott because, of course, right? You're going to dump him or trade him or cut him. And because we've all forgotten the game against the Bucs happened, it's still an overreaction. I understand the frustration. And to be clear, he didn't play well enough. Dak was the number one reason why you lost against the 49ers. Yeah, the ground game was once again terrible, but he's your quarterback. If he makes more plays, if he plays like he did against the Bucs, you win that football game. He's also been a very successful quarterback over his time in the NFL. Both of those things are true. It's perfectly fine to be mad at Dak for that performance. That does not make you a hater, and still think, you know what, he's done some really good things for you over the course of his NFL career. That does not make you a truther or whatever buzzword we want to go in there. Now, looking ahead, because we're now in the offseason, let's talk contract stuff here. His current cap hit for this upcoming year, $49 million. Nope, not paying it. Refuse to do it. You don't have to. Now, if you want to try to cut him, you would lose $39 million by cutting him right now. You're not going to do that. Cut him post-June 1st, you save $0. That's not going to be an option for you. If you trade him before June 1st, you lose $9 million. That's not going to work. Post-June 1st, you save $31 million. The solution here is actually pretty simple. You restructure him. You don't even have to extend him, which would save you more. But if you just want to restructure Dak, you would save over $22 million. That new number is not a top 10 cap hit at quarterback next year. Now, there would be more restructures, probably checks in just inside top 10, but that number's super doable for you at quarterback. And the alternative conversation we can have is replace him, find somebody else, right? Let's look at the options. Lamar Jackson, which would have to be a trade, you're not going to sign him in free agency, is by far the best option. The problem I run into is here at UK, you're pretending the money works out. Which it doesn't. The money does not work out at all there. Pretending it does, our problems with Dak are that, you're not winning the games that matter in the playoffs. Your solution is a quarterback who isn't any better and is actually worse in the playoffs than in Lamar Jackson. Small sample size, but we're playing the game already, so I don't love that option. Aaron Rodgers didn't play that well this year. Also, I question if he and Mike want to get back together. Derek Carr isn't better. Tom Brady's the GOAT, but he was just terrible last week against this team, and Dak outplayed him. So I don't really think that's a viable option. Then your actual free agency options are Daniel Jones, Jimmy Garoppolo. It's not very good. You could go trade up in the top 5 for a quarterback, but I don't love the quarterback class this year. I think you're more likely to end up with a Zach Wilson than you are the next Trevor Lawrence, Joe Burrow. So my solution is, how about you go be aggressive for a year? And if it doesn't work out and it's even worse this year, then next year starts to make a little bit more sense in a better draft class, whatever. Pinned comment on today's show, then some more overreactions coming up. Is Dak the guy at quarterback? It is still in the 48-hour window to just be emotional, so safe space to comment at the pinned comment. Y for yes, N for no. If the ad break comes here on YouTube, take advantage of it. Head down there, Y or N. Next up, how about you fire Mike McCarthy? Maybe go get Sean Payton, whose resume is basically identical. I do think this is an overreaction, less so than it is for dumping Dak, but I also don't think that was the game you go, see, Mike sucks. I thought he did fine. And I also want to acknowledge this, as unfun it is to acknowledge, this is the Cowboys' best 2-year stretch since the 1990s, since you were winning titles. It is. You have back-to-back wins for the first time in that era, back-to-back playoff spots for the first time since the end of the 90s. Year 1 was bad for Mike. I think if you were to ask every single NFL team, regular season only, of course, hey, you win 12 games back-to-back years. I think every team would take that. That's at worst a wild card spot, number 5 like you were this year. Now, make no mistake, you need better playoff success. I don't hope that's not how it's being taken of this is good enough. It's not, but I don't think you blow up and rebuild 12-win teams. That's not something I believe in doing. I would rather be a bit more aggressive, and I don't want to move my first-round pick for Sean Payton. I'm sorry. So you be the judge. What do you want to do with Mike McCarthy? K for keep, F for fire. Get those answers in for me in the comment section. Today's Cowboys Report is sponsored by Magic Spoon, the revolutionary cereal that's changing the game. Say goodbye to sugary, processed cereals and loaded to delicious, nutritious options that will power you through your day. Magic Spoon is the perfect choice for anyone looking to start the new year off on the right foot with a variety of flavors to choose from, like cocoa, fruity, frosted, and peanut butter. You'll never get bored. And with only 140 calories per serving, it's a guilt-free breakfast option. But the best part, Magic Spoon is packed with 13 to 14 grams of protein and 0 grams of sugar, making it the perfect choice for those following a keto or gluten-free diet. And with a 100% happiness guarantee, you have nothing to lose by giving it a try. Order your own personalized Magic Spoon variety pack today and save $5 by using code CHAT. That's CHAT at magicspoon.com/chat. or by scanning the QR code on screen. Trust us, you will not regret it. Start your day off right with Magic Spoon. It's magicspoon.com/chat. That link, by the way, is in the comment section and the description of today's show. magicspoon.com/chat. Next up on the Cowboys Overreactions, cutting Ezekiel Elliott. Hot take? Underreaction. I'm done. I'm out. I can't anymore. I just can't. There are still things Zeke does well, like finding ways to get a yard when it's in the backfield, going to lose 2 yards. He does that great. He's a fine pass protector, although he's not as good as he once was. But let us be honest here. He looks washed. Elliott does not have it anymore. Losing Pollard in that game meant more touches for Elliott. He's cooked. You save $10.9 million with the release. Get him out of here. If he wants to come back on a vet minimum deal, sure, that's fine. But he's not good anymore. There's no more to him. His last 6 games, Ezekiel Elliott has 82 carries, 213 yards. It's a 2.6 average. That is below replacement level. And the O-line deserves some blame there too, don't get me wrong. But you can't have 2.6 yards per carry. 6 scores, that's great, sure. Receiving yards were 35 or 6 for 35 yards. He's not good enough. He's not a talented enough player. It's just not the case. So what do you want to do with Zeke Elliott, folks? C for cut him, or R if you want to. Keep is not an option. It's off the table. There's zero reason whatsoever to bring back Ezekiel Elliott at his current cap hit. I refuse to do it. It's not something a competent organization would do. Bring back vet min? Sure. Let me know. C for cut, R for redo the deal. Vote for me in the comments section. From one running back to the other running back. It's time to tag Tony Pollard. Maybe. This has been complicated, unfortunately, by the fractured fibula Tony Pollard suffered. And that's going to be a couple-month recovery for Pollard, probably around 3 months. He'll need surgery. It is only, in air quotes, it is still a significant injury. It's only a broken leg. He should be fine back. I would rather have a leg break than an ACL get torn or something along those lines. So I'm not overly worried there, but you kind of got some trauma from the whole Tony Pollard, or excuse me, from the whole Michael Gallup issues you ran into this year that just kind of concerned me. But Pollard was awesome this year. 1,000 yards on the ground, 371 through the air. He played, I thought, really well this season and kind of answered the call of, hey, you know what? We are better off with Pollard out there on the ground. And I think you really missed him for 3 reasons on offense when Tony Pollard went down. 3 massive reasons. Number 1, you are slow on offense with Tony Pollard. There's nobody that runs a 4-4 because Turpin does not play. It's all 4-5 and above guys. It's not great. You lose Pollard, there's zero speed out. You just don't have the juice. Lamb is fast, but he's not a burner. He's 4-5. He's not that high-end speed guy, right? You really miss the role that Tony Pollard plays for you. So now you can't run the balls effectively. You miss the speed. You have one other playmaker. I like Dalton Schultz. He's not a playmaker. Lamb and Pollard were your only playmakers on offense this year. That's it. And then beyond that, you're looking at, you have to give more to Zeke Elliott. And that just doesn't go very well for the Cowboys. So we'll go more in depth in this here in a little bit. But what is the most that you would pay Tony Pollard per year on a long-term deal? Get those votes in for me in the comments section. This is what the numbers look like, by the way. I think you will see some changes to this list, by the way. I don't think you're going to see Kamara back at that number under the radar there. Zeke cannot be back at the number. Dalvin Cook might not be. You might get some extensions for guys like a Mixon and a Henry, and Barkley's going to be a free agent, so a much higher number there. I think I love the $8 million. Probably asking for a little bit too much. I think your sweet spot there is somewhere between the $8 and $12 million, maybe a little bit above it if there's a bidding war in free agency. The franchise tag would be $10.1 million, which isn't that bad. I would prefer a long-term deal because you get that cap hit down lower in the short term. It's just more viable for you. But that's going to be a big focal point. What do you end up doing there with Tony Pollard? All right, next up, overreaction. Aggressive in the offseason. Catboy, I am begging you, please go be aggressive. Once again, this is back-to-back years, and really you've kind of been in a little window here with your quarterback having decent teams that aren't quite good enough. What did the Cowboys do last year? We were all mad about it. You saved money by dumping guys like Collins and Cooper, and in the end not re-signing Randy Gregory. And what did you do in free agency? Before the year began, what did you do? Before camp began, you signed Dante Fowler, James Washington, and Ryan Nall. That was all you did in free agency to make your team better. You added a guy who was cut this month in James Washington, a guy never played a snap for you in Ryan Nall. Y'all forgot about him. I know it. I did too briefly. And Dante Fowler played 6 snaps against the 49ers. You did not try to get better. You were clearing your books, getting rid of some bad deals, etc. This is the time to try. If you keep just playing the middle ground, the end result is what you've got. Now you might be a playoff team. If your quarterback goes superhuman, you'll win playoff games, but it'll be short because he's not Allen. He's not maybe not Allen. He's not Mahomes. He's not Burrow. He's not prime Brady, prime Rodgers, whatever. You need help. And that's how most teams are outside of, again, the Mahomes, etc. So go be aggressive. I'm not saying F them picks full Rams style, or even as aggressive as the Eagles have been. Do something. Try. And if it fails, well, then you can rebuild. Then you can have a down year or two and accept sucking for a little bit and go be aggressive. But just running it back again is organizational failure. You can't do it. You have to add some talent. That's not just the draft. Last overreaction, fire Kellen Moore. I get it. Again, I would say be cautious of, well, we're going to fire Kellen and now Brian Schottenheimer's our OC. Is that better? Maybe, maybe not. The offense has not been bad. There have been bad games, make no mistake about it, but there is still room for improvement. Elements have to get better. The hitches, the deep comeback routes, the lack of going downfield because I don't think they trusted the offensive line, but it actually held up pretty well against the Niners. I get why that was the game plan. Should have adjusted there. You should have put Lamb in the backfield. You did not adjust well when Pollard went down. You got to be better. All those hitches and comebacks, but by the way, how many times this year did they run a curl and go or slant and go? How many times this year? Did they ever? Teams could sit on those routes because the Cowboys never threatened downfield. So that's an offensive adjustment. And if your quarterback's late, well, that's how you get picks in the end zone. And when your receivers don't come back to the ball, it's all kinds of things. Got to be better moving forward on offense. And if you can get an upgrade for Kellen, go for it. I'm not sure who it is, though.